All right, Vicky, thank you for um, allowing me to do this short assignment with you.
No problem.
This is my friend and colleague, Vicky, and we're going to be talking about what is teacher burnout and demoralization, one versus the other. We're going to discuss um, what's going on in the life of teachers nowadays. So, what do you think about what is going on with teachers? We hear the word in our profession, teacher burnout. We hear, especially recently with the pandemic, that teachers are leaving the profession.
At record rates. Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
I think it's a multitude of things. With teacher burnout, everything on our plate that we have to do just continues to grow without the support that we need in order to do all those things. There's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough support from admin or within our buildings and our teams. So they keep adding things to our plates, and we can't manage everything because there's not enough time in the day. So teachers are leaving because they're asking for more than what we can give, and I think that is burnout.
Yeah.
And I think that has increased with the pandemic and COVID.
And that's a very interesting point. As I was reading the text for this class, there was a teacher who did a little bit of research for tenure on the hours that she was supposed and what she was doing every day. And I think she came to the conclusion that she was supposed to teach after all the meetings and everything, she was supposed to be teaching at least 5 hours or the equivalent of five instruction hours um, for the kids that she was teaching. But in the end, it was really 3.5 hours of teaching that she had left to accomplish a 5 or 6 hours of teaching. And again, she mentioned that some of those things are very important, they're relevant, meeting with this IEP, different things, but in the end, she didn't have a time to cover what she had to cover and to do the correct teaching and to see the kids learning. So yeah, it's overwhelming when you have a surmountable amount of things that you cannot accomplish, and it leads to that.
It does lead to that. I mean, I think that when I was going through college for my education degree, which is in special education, they told us that special education teachers, the the frequency or the longest they can average in the classroom is 5 years before they either leave special education or leave the profession altogether.
Wow.
That was 20 years ago when I was going through my undergrad degree, and I've been in special ed for 19 years now. This will be my 19th year. And it's true that they continue to add to our plate, and there's so much to do. I mean, by the time you've written all the IEPs, met with all the parents, contacted all the general ed teachers, and then documented everything that you just did, and you still have to teach.
To teach. Yeah, no, so yeah, so burnout is real.
Yeah,
It is
real.
is something that is affecting many teachers. And one of the things we discuss in this class and the textbook is, teachers, and I, have brought it up in several of the assignments, teachers' mental health. Many times we don't find the support to help us deal with what is going on.
Absolutely true. And it doesn't help that when a teacher does have a mental health issue or needs help, the expectation is you still need to be in the classroom. We still need you to, or you need to have a sub, or you need sub plans. And what people forget is that if the teacher's mental health, if our mental health isn't taken care of, how do we take care of students?
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of energy making sure our students are taken care of.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we can carve time into our day to take care of ourselves as well.
Yeah, and as teachers, we are givers. So we are willing to do anything for our students. And we carry sometimes not just the burden of the demands of the job, but the problems that our kids bring.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the only professions where you, not only, but one of the few professions where you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about someone else's child,
Exactly.
worrying about someone else's child.
Exactly.
Did they get home okay? Did they have a meal? Were they able to get their homework done? You know, all of those things. And that adds to teacher burnout because we're carrying the weight of our students' problems and concerns on our shoulders on top of our own things that we need to take care of.
Yeah, totally. And what about demoralization? What's your opinion? Um, should we get to a point, as teachers, as individual, where we feel like, what, I'm not valued? I mean, is that something that we should probably? I mean, it's hard to ignore when you feel like your job doesn't matter. It could be from your local district. It could be even nationally when you hear, or at the state level, your profession, your person being attacked. What do you feel about that? How?
I think that happens often as well, that we don't feel valued, especially for the amount of time and energy that we put in for our students and our craft. We care about what we do, and we're teachers for a reason. So when we feel like we're not being valued for our work and our time, that impacts us. And will make you want to leave the profession. I'm going to go get a job somewhere where they do value my skills, where they do value my work ethic. And if that's not happening within your own district or in your own building, it does create a mood or a tone in the building. And it makes it difficult for teachers to continue to function at the level and do what is expected if what I'm bringing to the table isn't valued.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that administrators and school districts and families, community members need to take into consideration. You saw it last year during COVID when we were switching back and forth between different learning models, right? We're in person, hybrid one week, and we don't know what we're going to be next week. It could be virtual, it could be fully virtual, it could be all in person, and we didn't know. And to hear that parents were unhappy with the product that we were giving, even if it's just a handful of parents.
The aggression.
It's hurtful. It's hurtful because I know how much time and effort I put into making sure I had a lesson plan for every single outcome of whatever learning modality we're in. And I'm doing the best that I can do as an educator in the classroom with students in the classroom and coming in Zooming from home and actually thinking, wow, we're killing it doing as much as we do. We're planners, we're teachers, we do that. And then to have a handful of parents not think we were doing the best job we possibly could made you feel undervalued and underappreciated, and that's tough.
Yeah, and I spoke to some neighbors of mine who were kind of mocking the fact that I was working from home. And so I was explaining to him to one of them, that I went from having everything in place, doing my job, I mean, the way I have done it for years, to having to carry a bag or a box from the classroom from one day to the next and head home. And from home, improvise, adapt, and overcome, like we say here, to try to get my students. Because as teachers, we are facing all this, but we are not the kind of professional that think, you know what, I'm going to make sure I'm fine. I'm going to make sure I'm surviving this, or I'm going to make sure that my family's okay. No, we carry what's going on with our student with us. And I think that triggers the demoralization when our supervisors, our families, our state representatives do not stop to think, what are teachers going through right now? And you hear the complaints, you know, and we are in this all together,
Yeah.
dealing with this issue. Um, I was listening to a video of a teacher who quit um, because there was so much that she was being asked to do, and at the same time, this is affecting her personal life, in her marriage, her children. Um, what do you think are things that we should do when these things, these job related issues that we make it so personal, are affecting us?
I think part of it is, you think about the airline when you're on the plane and they're doing their spiel about make sure you put your oxygen mask on first before you reach to your child or the person next to you to help them, because if you don't have an oxygen mask, you're not going to be able to help them. So as teachers, we have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and making sure we do have an oxygen mask.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, we have to create boundaries and have balance in our time in our day. So that means we can't answer emails at 10 o'clock at night from parents that want to know this, that, or the other. That needs to be taken care of within the school day or in a shortened amount of time after the school day. Not when our spouse is like, why are you answering emails right now? Because trust me, we've had that conversation. Because that's taking away from the energy, the things that give you energy and pour into you. Family time, time with your own children, time relaxing and enjoying what you like to do. And if we're not doing that and pouring into ourselves and taking care of ourselves and finding balance, then we can't do everything else. We can't help our students put their oxygen masks on if we haven't put it on ours first.
Yeah, so if our vessel is empty, there's no way we're going to be able to fill anybody else.
Right.
And there are so many professions that, or individuals in general, where their job takes a toll on their families, their loved one. And I don't want to say that it's different than teaching. It's the same, but for us who are constantly working with people, working with children, we have the future of our nation in our classroom. If we are not filled, if our mental health, if our emotional health is not there, I mean, we are in serious trouble.
Right.
Because and I think that especially in this past couple of years, we have gone way beyond teaching. Now we are counselors. Now we listen to kids' problem. Kids are opening up to us because even our counselors cannot deal with all the problems.
And I think that's what's different between mine and yours. Like, you're a gen ed teacher, so kids maybe don't come to you. But as a special educator, the last 18 years of my life, I've also been the counselor, and all the things, which is I think why special ed has a higher rate of turnover. But yeah, we can't continue to wear all those hats and be okay without the appropriate amount of support from our administrative teams and our districts. It's just not gonna. It won't happen.
Yeah, and I think our administrators and district, the people up there, it is important for them. I think it's their job to make sure our community members, our parents, understand the jobs we fill, the responsibilities we carry. Because I think many times, and that comes, touching on demoralization, they see us as employees, just as employees. Sometimes
their taxes pay for us, so
exactly.
They don't have to really respect us because they feel like they're writing our paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it works,
and
really.
those for sure. And when you add their demands with that attitude, I mean, demoralization is real, because you don't feel appreciated. We as teachers, we want to um, built relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my parents at open house, we are a three-way system. You, your child, and I, we form a team.
Right.
But when part of that team is shooting at you, and don't value you as part of, their success for their kids and the job you're doing, then it hurts.
It does hurt.
It
And the
hurts.
reminder that we're all on the same side. We
Mm-hmm.
all want what's best for kids,
Yeah.
and we want their kids to know that they're taken care of, feel welcomed,
Mm-hmm.
and are successful and
Yeah.
feel successful. Like that's what parents want. It's also what we want.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole goal. So, in order for us to feel more appreciated, I think maybe something does need to happen so that that they're aware of everything that we are really doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Vicky. I appreciate your time.
No problem.